So we're going to talk about the systems to scale your business. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, this is going to be so glamorous and so fun. I'm so excited to talk about systems and processes. But here's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to make systems sexy, okay? So can we just get a round of applause? Let's make systems sexy. I know, let's do it. So let's get started. So my dad, when I was a young girl, said this about me. From the age of 6, she had her own walk-in closet with an inventory control system that would rival any high-end boutique. I do think 6 is quite young. I think it was like the middle school age range. I don't know. How old are you in middle school? 11, 12, somewhere around 13, somewhere around there. So 6 was an exaggeration, of course, my daddy exaggerating about me. So this is not me. But I was late to school a lot in middle school. Now, let me explain something. I lived across the street, and I walked every single day to school, but I was constantly late. Do you know why? It's because I would sit in my closet every morning before getting ready and unsure of what to wear. So I'm very basic, as you can tell. Black, white, gray, those are my colors I stick to. But I would struggle figuring out what to wear in the mornings because I was overwhelmed. I was like, there's so many options. What is the day going to bring? Who knows, right? And so I was really struggling to get ready in the morning, and it made me late to school every single day. So you know what I decided to do? At some point, I said I needed to make things more efficient. So I organized my closet by sleeve length and color for efficiency at the age of 13 years old because I felt like that was a good choice to help me not be late for school anymore. And it worked. So why am I telling you this? Because here's what I do nowadays. I help entrepreneurs create more efficient businesses with the entire goal of helping them get their flexibility and freedom back in their life. It's very important. I do this in 2 different ways. One, I help them to implement better systems and processes in their own businesses, but also I have a matching program where we match them with highly skilled executive assistants and online business managers. That's what we enjoy doing. It's all about delegating your work. So, I bet you're wondering, right? Why should I even create systems and organization in my business in the first place? Things are probably running fine, right? You're making money. Why even bother to jump through the hoops and to do this? Well, there's 2 huge reasons. It's going to make your life so much easier, and it's going to help you monetize more. And I also want to point out, it is never, ever, ever too late to do this. I don't care how established your business is. I don't care if you've been doing this for 25 years. It's never too late to get the systems and the processes in place. So don't fret about that. So how can these systems make your life easier? A few different ways. One, it's going to make everything more efficient, which is going to free up your time. And I don't know anybody who said, I actually don't need more time. I'm good. I'm using it like I want. I don't want more time. So no one has said that, right? So it's going to make things more efficient, and then you get your time back. Second reason, it's going to create organization for yourself and your team. If you have a team, I promise you they're craving organization. Third, it's going to help you prevent overwhelm and stress. When there's a plan in place, you don't have to wonder what next, what's happening. There's a plan. It just relieves that overwhelm and stress naturally for you. And fourth, the business will operate without you having to do everything. Now, no shame. Let's have a very transparent moment together. Who has ever felt like they are the bottleneck in their own business? Raise your hand. Okay. So you're going to love the rest of this presentation then, because I'm going to tell you how to fix that. So here's how creating systems can make you more money. We've all heard this phrase, time is money, right? We've all heard that phrase. But I also believe that time is our greatest asset. It's something that we use a lot of and we can never get back. So when you think of time, you can never get it back, right? So it's very important, and I think it's our greatest asset. It certainly is mine. So here's an example of how creating systems can make you more money. If you can consistently bring on more clients in less time, it will bring in more revenue, I promise you. I'm a very visual person. So let's look at a little bit of a visual here. So before having a system in place, let's hypothetically say it takes 30 days for you to bring on 10 new clients. That's a stretch, that's a lot, but right, let's just hypothetically say that's the case. So in 30 days, you can bring on 10 new clients. Well, what happens if you were to create a system to cut that time in half? So rather than it taking 30 days to bring on 10 new clients, it will then take 15 days to bring on those 10 new clients. And then you have 15 other days. Like, what do you want to do with it? You can either bring in more clients to bring in more money, right? More revenue, or do whatever else you want. Go spend time with your family, go on a vacation. You have 15 days, right? So that's how it can make you more money, is if you wanted to, you could bring on 20 clients when it used to take you, you would only have 10 in the 30 days. So it's just a little bit of an example of how you can do that. Now, you may be wondering, okay, I know you've convinced me. I'll put these systems in place. It's going to make my life easier. It's going to help me monetize more. All right, great. But what systems do I even need to even have in place in the beginning? Like what, tell me what those are. So just tell me what to do, Chelsea, right? Okay. Well, there's a lot of them, and it's always based on your business. Like if you're a podcaster or if you run mastermind groups, it's all based on your business, right? But no matter what, these are the 5 most important ones that we're going to talk about. First, file organization. So all of your files need to be in one cloud program. I don't care what cloud program it is. I prefer Google Drive, using Google Drive, but maybe it's Dropbox. Maybe you just love Dropbox, and maybe it's some other fancy new tech tool that's out there, right? There's always new ones. But whatever it is, all of your files need to be in one cloud program. Here's a rule of thumb. You need to be able to find any file, document, photo, anything you need in 2 minutes or less. Time yourselves. If you cannot find it in 2 minutes or less, you are wasting time. And time is money, remember? Your team should know where to find things without asking you. We're removing you as being the bottleneck, remember? So they need to be able to know exactly where to find the files that they need access to. So here's an action item, a little piece of homework. I'm going to give you homework, naturally. It's what I do. So I want you to create a naming system for your files so that they're searchable. Whether you name it like the client's name and the month and the year, whatever that looks like. But you want to be able to search your Google Drive for files so that you can easily access them in the 2 minutes or less. The second system I want you to have in place is your schedule and your calendar. So there needs to be a rhyme and a reason for your schedule and your calendar. There doesn't need to be, oh, someone just popped a meeting on my calendar. Absolutely not. No. There needs to be a rhyme and reason for your calendar, and you can set that up. There's scheduling tools. Calendly is one of my favorite ones. I love it. And we have things structured in there. I also want you to set aside time to work on your business, not just in your business. And we're going to do a deep dive into what the difference is there, but there is a very, very big difference in working in your business and working on your business. As far as schedule, I want you to batch things to be a better use of your time. So batching things, that will help you from context switching back and forth. So for me, one of the things I do is I have coaching call days on Tuesdays. That's when I do coaching calls. Sorry, y'all. Doesn't work for you? That's when I do calls. Here's an example of my schedule, just to be fully transparent with you guys, of what I do. So Mondays are no call days for me. And this is what I keep printed out on my desk because I'm that kind of person. So Mondays, no call days. I don't take calls on Mondays. Tuesdays are coaching days. So that's when I do all my client coaching calls. Tuesdays. Wednesdays and Thursdays are my very call-heavy days. So I'm open for like discovery intake calls, but I also do final candidate interviews. So I mentioned we have a matching program matching executive assistants and online business managers with entrepreneurs, right? I do all the final candidate interviews because it's very important for me to have touch points. So I do those on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I batch them so that I can do them all at once and I don't have to context switch, and so that I can compare people right after one another. So that's helpful. Fridays, I don't work. I have a 1-year-old, and so I'm a mom on Fridays. That's what I do. It helps me to balance my life. Now, here's the difference between working in your business versus working on it. Feel free to take a photo of this if you want. Please remember this. This is very important. Working in your business is you doing the client work. So what people pay you to do, the service that you provide, whatever that looks like, that's working in your business. It's talking with those team members. It's doing the coaching calls, the consulting. That's working in your business. Now, the big difference is working on your business means doing that content creation, writing the email newsletters, updating your systems and processes, I hope, doing the financial stuff that we all love, right? Anything that helps to grow or make your business better is working on it, not in it. And I would love for you to have time set aside to do just that. Okay, the next system I want you to have in place is team onboarding. So, when a new team member says they want to work with you, that's fantastic. But there needs to be a plan of attack, right? So you need to have like the paperwork all together for them, like the statement of work, the non-disclosure agreement if that's necessary, all so that you can hand that off to them to sign and get all of that arranged. So that needs to happen up front. There needs to be a plan, and you need to get their W-9, all of that stuff, right? You shouldn't at the end of the year go, oh, shucks, can you send me your W-9? I forgot to get that from you. Do it in the beginning. You don't want to lose touch with people, and then that just becomes the hot mess express. I also want you to, for team onboarding, I want you to share all the logins that they will need access to. That's important, right? I have all of Mike's logins, like everything. But for my team and my business, I have created a folder in LastPass. It's one of my favorite tools to securely share passwords and such. So I've created a folder in my LastPass called Chelsea Brinkley Business. I literally just share that folder with my team members, and they have access to everything. There's no like, oh, you need Canva login, you need this login. Oh, it becomes a mess. Just create that folder in LastPass and share it with your team members. It makes your life so much easier. And then as far as like the communication tool you decide to use, I use Slack. I love Slack. You want to invite them to your Slack as well. All of this to say, there's a lot that needs to happen when you bring on a new team member. It's not just, yay, we're working together. Like, what's the payment plan? Are they going to send you an invoice at the end of every month? Like, what does that look like? There just needs to be a plan in place. So team onboarding is very important. So along these lines, I typically get this question. So when do I hire someone? Who has ever told you before you're ready? Bring on someone, do something before you're ready. Has anybody ever heard that? Yeah, a lot of us. I'm here to tell you when hiring someone, that's baloney. I was going to use a different word. That's baloney. Here's why. It is not human behavior to do something before we're ready, right? So would you hire a handyman for your house before you've even built the house? No. So why would you hire someone before you're ready to bring them on? So what I advise is whenever you start to feel that pain point, that's when you want to bring on that team member. For example, if you're struggling with the copywriting, if it's becoming really overwhelming and it's taking so much of your time and you're just, I can't get to it, hire a copywriter. That's when you bring on a copywriter. If you're getting to the point where like booking my travel, all the admin stuff, it's just a lot, it's super overwhelming, bring on an executive assistant. So when you start to feel that pain point is when you need to bring on the specific team member for that. So I told you I have this EA and OBM matchmaking business. Well, a lot of questions I get are like, what are some of the first team members I need to bring on? So I just want to share with you from my experience, what I see a lot of is the first 2 team members that are brought on to help an entrepreneur run their business is an executive assistant or an online business manager. Now I want to clarify the difference of those two for you. So an executive assistant, that person typically handles all of the administrative duties. Some of those tasks look like this: email management, calendar and schedule management, the file organization, travel arrangements, doing some market research here and there, and communicating with clients on your behalf. So some of the administrative duties, right? That's an EA. Here's an online business manager. It's a very different role, and sometimes they can get lumped into being called the same, but it's very, very different. So this is an online business manager, also can be called an integrator. We've probably heard that term a lot lately. These mean the exact same thing. So an online business manager is operations driven. They are the implementer to the CEO. So the OBM manages the projects. They lead the team so that you don't have to. They create those processes and procedures, workflows, stuff I geek out about. all for the business to run more efficiently. So that's really what an OBM does. They are operations driven. They are not administrative. So if you were to look, again, I'm very visual. If you were to look at like an org chart, this is what it would look like. You've got the CEO, and they work very closely with the OBM. And then you've got the executive assistant, and the EA is utilized by both the CEO and OBM. And then the OBM is the one that manages the team. Remember, we talked about that. They're operations driven. So they help to lead and manage the team. Otherwise, the CEO talking to all of those people, I mean, that's just what you're going to be doing with your days. Like, it's just so much. So that's what that looks like. Now, the next system that needs to be in place is new client intake. So when a client says, hey, I really want to work with you, you're amazing, and you're like, I know. Like, what's the process for that? Do they need to fill out a questionnaire? Do they need to do a survey? Do they probably need to send you a deposit, right, to get that locked in on your calendar? So what's the entire process that needs to happen when someone says, I would love to work with you? Here's why. And we've probably all had like these experiences before, right? You don't want to leave your potential customer client guessing. Like, what's the next step? I want to work with you. Like, tell me how to do that. Tell me exactly what to do. So you definitely want to make sure that this is a seamless process because it is going to bring in revenue for you. So you want to make it extremely easy for your potential new client. Extremely easy. Don't ever let them guess about what's next. Always just tell them. What I do is like, hey, next step, I'm going to send you an agreement. I'm going to send you a deposit for an invoice. An invoice for a deposit. So I'm going to send you. Then they don't have to wonder what's next. The next system that needs to be in place, fifth and final one, is customer support. So if you sell anything or people want to reach out to you, if a customer says, I need help, I don't know how to log into your course, I can't figure out how to open the document, the PDF, all of that stuff. Like, what's the plan to serve them and help them quickly? We always want to overserve our clients. And then again, on that line is like, what are the rules and parameters in place for how we take care of people? Always overserve, always take care of them, right? So if someone's going, I'm having a really hard time with this, do we give them a coupon code? Do we give them a discount off? What's the plan of attack here? Another little action item for you. I would love for you to create a customer support email address if you don't already have one and have an executive assistant manage that. And we just give them the parameters on managing that. So now I told you all of these systems you need to have in place, right? Seems like a lot of work. Here's how to implement those better systems. First thing I want you to do is decide what systems need to be cleaned up in the first place. So I'd love for you to do this right now. I'm going to do 60 seconds, right? I want you to list off the areas, as I've been chatting with you, what comes to mind of the areas that feel the most unorganized in your business to you. So 60 seconds, write those down. So it could be that customer support. It could be if you have a podcast, is it running that podcast? Running mastermind groups, is that a stressor? Does that feel really disorganized? Like, when people paying? When are they leaving? They're coming in. What does that look like? Is your schedule, is it a hot mess? Do you need to put that in place? Customer support. Anything that comes to your mind. Is it your team? Process with your team? Keeping up with everybody? Managing schedules? Okay, so now that you have that list, I actually don't know if that was 60 seconds or not. We're going with it. Now that we have that list, right, of what feels the most unorganized, I want you to pick the biggest pain point on there right now. The biggest pain point, I want you to circle it. What feels the hardest? What feels the most overwhelming? Of that entire list, which one are you going, ugh? Let's start with that one. And what I want you to do is looking at that list, and after you go home and everything, you start with the one that you've circled and then go from there. This is a lot, implementing new systems in your business. It's difficult and it's not super fast. So I'm just going to be honest with you. It's not like a super quick, oh, we did this in 24 hours. It's hard. So what I want you to do is like the whole domino effect, the snowball, the baby steps. Start with the biggest pain point and then work your way from there. The second thing for how to implement better systems is you need to create a standard operating procedure for absolutely everything you do. So a standard operating procedure, SOP, it is a written document that outlines what needs to happen, step by step. It's like a book. You're reading a book, and then this happens, and then this happens, and all of this. And sometimes I like to include Loom videos with my SOP document. Doing this and have a standard operating procedure for everything you do in your business will life-proof your business. Here's what I mean by that. So say one of your team members who runs this process in your business, who runs the mastermind groups or the podcast, whatever that looks like. If you have a team member who runs a particular system or process in your business, what happens if they get sick? What happens if one of their family members gets sick and they say, I am so sorry, like I'm going to be out of pocket for the next 8 weeks. I have to take care of my mom. What happens in that situation? Are you completely screwed? This is what I mean by life-proofing your business. If you have a standard operating procedure in place, you know what you can do in a written document? You can say, hey, go be with your family. That is extremely important. That takes priority. Absolutely. You know what we can do is we can take that standard operating procedure document, bring on a temporary team member and say, here's our SOP. Please follow this. We have videos. We have it all written down, exactly what needs to happen. And temporarily, you're not screwed anymore. You're life-proofing your business because here's what I promise you. Life will happen. It will. There's mountains and valleys. Life will happen. So you need to life-proof your business. Third thing for how to implement better systems is I want you to automate what you can. So not everything has to be done manually. So automate what you can. So create automation within tools themselves. You may just have to search for it, but it's doable and they do that. Or you can use one of my favorite tools, which is Zapier. So you create automations of, if this happens, I want this to happen. I also create automations in my email inbox because there's some emails I just don't want to see. But I don't want to unsubscribe, So I created a rule, if this happens, then I want that to happen and mark it as read and put it in a particular folder. Automations. Automate what you can. Let's make life easier. The fourth thing is I want you to delegate what you can. I'm here to tell you, you do not have to do everything in your business, even though you feel like you do. You don't. Delegate what you can. If you have a team, delegate everything that doesn't have to be done by you to a team member. The goal is to get you to a place of doing the things that only you can do in your business. And there are certain things that only you can do in your business. Everything else should be delegated to somebody else with a standard operating procedure. So here's the entire goal for organizing your business right here. Systemize, automate what you can, and then delegate what you can as well. You need to be in a place of doing what only you can do in your business. So I'm going to recap real quick. These are the 5 systems that need to be in place in your business. File organization, your schedule, team onboarding, the new client intake, and the customer support and taking care of people. Those are the main 5. There are many, many more, but these are the most important 5 to get in shape. Now, these are the 5, but I've created a document for 10 more if you need that as well. And in this, so just go there, you can get it for free and all of that stuff. But in there, I also am giving you my standard operating procedure template to help you get started. So this is exactly how I write SOPs for my clients. So just go take it for free and just go get it and use it. But thank you so much. I so appreciate y'all listening and your time.